My name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Tonight, I got a very special guest making his 11, 12, 15 time Todd Graham.
Mr. Steve Martin.
Yes.
Man, same joke every time.
So I got to just bring this up. This is the first time you've been in the studio since Dick has passed away.
Yeah.
And I know you like Dick a lot. You know what I mean? Not that way, guys. Get your dirty.
Hey, we have only just begun when it comes to the entendre.
No, but I know that you did like him a lot. He liked you. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, hell, I've been on this show 7,500 times. So for Dick.
Absolutely. Miss you, Dick.
Funny little note. I mentioned this little tidbit the last time I was on here. You know, when we did the Via Satellite
yes.
show. Dick would always, whenever I'd come in, Dick would always say something about, have you ever thought about doing like public access television? And I'm just like, it's where I came from. So
right.
There's a big spot in my heart for, for stuff like that. And he always kept saying, he's like, do you have anything? Do you have anything? And he was the one who inspired me to do, like a TV product for PG. So something like, what you would see in a dark elevation from
right.
AEW, where you get a lot of guys that are looking to make an impression with some guys that are already established. And I was just like, that'd be perfect. And
right.
then he passed away.
And he passed.
So I feel like there's a part of me that if we ever get this TV show off the ground, we'll do something nice for Dick, because
that's
it
awesome.
it really was his inspiration that got us to really do it.
Right.
So,
and he really was a great guy.
Yeah.
Very much missed. The new guys are fantastic.
we'll see about that.
But listen, I got to ask you, is it really true? Are you having your last match on December 3rd?
Yeah.
You really are, huh?
I had to make the decision. Yeah.
Right.
It's funny. Some trouser stain online said something long ago about how I was treating the neck injury like I'd overcome cancer or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And
a douche.
I'm
sorry.
I saw that and I was just like, yeah, I talk about it a lot, but you know what? It was pretty big to me.
Well, yeah, of course it was.
But they also talk about that particular injury being easy to come back from, and we all know wrestlers who had the same injuries. So guys like Tommaso Ciampa and Edge,
right?
And I think Benoit had the same thing. Whatever, just neck fusion or whatever. And all I could think was Ciampa's constantly on the shelf all the time.
Right. As he is right now.
And it might be for something else, but
right.
It also could be for complications of the thing. So when I got the surgery done, in the consultation before I got the surgery, I asked the doctor, I said, hey, jokingly,
yeah.
So when do you think I can get back in there? Thinking that the answer was going to be,
Right.
Because I've never had an injury like this before.
Right.
And he was just like, yeah, probably 3 months. And I was like, 3 months? Ridiculous. Like,
right.
I was never going to come back in 3 months. And then what ended up happening was, we sat down and talked about it, and he was just like, I got the surgery, and it was like they turned the pain off. I've said that before on the show.
Right.
But the conversation that I had with my doctor shortly after that was, now, those two vertebrae, they are fused together, which turned the pain off and fixed the problem that you were experiencing.
Right.
However, over time, because those two aren't moving, it's going to cause stress to the disc above it,
right,
and the disc below it.
Right.
And you may need to have another surgery. And I said, and if I do have that surgery, then the potential that it could aggravate the one below that, and the one above that, and the one below that. And then I remembered what Brickhouse Baker told me, which was he had the same surgery,
right,
but it was like 4 vertebrae in a row. So he lost a lot of range of motion.
Yeah.
In his neck, and so it was just like, okay,
right.
So I retired in 2019 at Elkmania, and at Elkmania 7 before I took it over. Which, by the way, when I announced that I took it over,
yeah.
I got a lot of heat for that.
Did you really?
I did. I can tell that story too. Might as well. Who am I afraid to hurt at this point?
Nobody.
So yeah, it was one of those things where I finished up in 2019, knowing full and well in my heart that if I could go again, I'd like to.
Right, of course.
And then COVID happened, and it was like it bought me a lot of time.
Right.
because it was just like, okay, there's nothing going on for at least a year. And then when PG came back, I did a whole nother year, 2021, without even thinking about it, all the while using the connection that I had to a building in Gloucester to be able to, like, at my own pace, kind of test out the new neck and, you know, see what was going on. And then in January of 2022, I came back in a rumble, and it was just like, okay, if that's a one-off, cool. And then a month or two later, I came back and I did that 4 or 5 minute match with Tony Spencer, and I was just like, okay, I'm feeling good. This is okay. And then I did that match that you came out to see with Sean Leader. And
that match was great too. It really was.
That match was it was that match that made me go, okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one more year out of this. Now, apparently I could get a lot more years out of it. But I ain't in the shape that Edge or Tommaso Ciampa are in.
And you don't want to end up too hurt either, though.
My body has been a bag of dog shit. No, for quite some time. I've never been a body guy. And only now am I losing a significant amount of weight because I switched to a liquid diet. And that's mostly because I got a cavity, so I don't like chewing on nothing. So, yeah, but in turn, you end up losing a ton of weight because it's all liquid. It just goes right through. Just like McDonald's. Galbar Kai told me once, he was just like, all I ever eat is McDonald's. I can't do the accent, so I'm not gonna. But he's like, all I ever eat is McDonald's. And I'm just like, how is that true? Kid looks like he's cut out of granite.
Is that crazy?
And then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, there's no nutritional value in that food. It just goes right through.
Exactly. You know? I gotta say real quick, though, how you said you got a cavity. I know you've never met personally my stepdaughter, Nicole.
Yeah.
She's 36 years old. She's never had a cavity in her life.
You just jinxed her, you know.
No, she's never gonna get one. I'm telling you.
You summon them butts. You
so much.
You
I'm
jinxed her.
I hope not.
You jinxed her. But yeah. So I made the decision in April that I said, okay, the first two things I did were pretty good. The practice and the working out that I had done on testing out if I could, still bump. I'd have to change my style a lot, which was a lot of falling down. Because that was what's Derek Simonetti's best move? Selling. Like, that's it. I get beat up. I'm a bullet sponge.
I don't know. I like your frog splash a lot.
I
really do.
That was the one thing.
Really
the one thing I cultivated in the practice time before I came back, and I was like, maybe,
You do a good one.
Well, that's the thing. I only started getting booked in 2013 because I was 335 pounds and I was doing a backflip. That's the only reason I got booked.
You were doing moonsaults and everything too.
Yeah, and I think I pulled one out. It was like, I think I've only done one or two all year, just because.
Right.
It's a bit nerve-wracking, but the ones I did it for, I felt like I was like, you know what? I've never worked with you guys before. Let's throw a little something special in it. But yeah, December 3rd, I made the decision that we're going to finish up. I think as of this show, I have 3 more matches to do. Working with Shay Cash at NRG on Friday.
Yep.
And then the day before my show, I'm wrestling Osiris. And
is that NCW?
Yeah, okay. At NCW, and then the next day it'll be Montero. Wow. So, yeah, it's surreal. Right. And also, I've got my handful of friends that are just like, oh, you'll wrestle again, and I'm not going to be the one to be like, oh, never, of course, because then I'll wind up getting the itch somewhere.
Then you'll be jinxed.
But let's put it this way: I'm very happy with what I've done this year. And I felt
you should be proud of the company. Your company's grown quite a bit over the last couple of years, Todd.
I'm very happy with it, and I can't wait to see what happens when I'm 100% focused backstage.
Right.
Because if there's one thing I hate about being a wrestler, it's having to remember every spot for the match for 15 minutes.
Right. And run the show.
And be there to answer questions.
Right.
But I said when I got hurt, if I come back, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is either on the same level or better than what I was doing before.
Right.
And I, in my opinion, which doesn't necessarily match those that think that I've been a shit bum my whole career, I have been doing my best work this year, bar none. And it's a combination of having to change what I was doing in there with playing more to the emotional than the physical.
Right.
And I think when you do that, you're able to actually captivate more fans and get them to pay more attention, so that the little things that you do count more.
Right.
And the more little things you do, the less big things you have to do.
Exactly.
So I am happy to say that here we go, I'm putting it in the universe now. I'm happy to say that I've gotten to the end of this little return/goodbye run.
Yeah.
With very little incident and very good opponents. And I just want to say about Mike Montero, I don't think I've ever been in the ring with anybody smoother.
Right.
And I've, despite what people might say, I've been in the ring with quite a few different people on very many different levels. Yeah. And I remember the first time I wrestled Mike Montero, I said, if I could have matches like that for the rest of my life, I'd never retire.
Right. Because
he's just so, and I know I'm supposed to come on here and hype the show and tell you I hate him and I want to kick his ass and all that stuff.
Say that at the end.
we already recorded that. But no, the truth is this: I won't say it on my program, but I will say it on yours. I don't think there is anybody, and I mean anybody, in New England that comes close to being as good.
The kid is really good.
There's a lot of people that got a lot of hype.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Yep.
And they're very good too.
Right.
And I'm not going to name names because I don't want to insult anybody.
Right.
But
No, I hear you.
There's a lot of people with a lot of hype that are real good.
Yep.
There's a lot of people with a lot of hype that aren't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people with a lot of talent that are really douchebags behind the scenes. And which is a hilarious, the most common conversation you have with wrestlers is this. He's a really nice guy, but the work.
Yep.
It's not, but then every once in a while there's that rare occasion. It's he's so good in the ring, but he sucks as a person. It doesn't happen often. And once again, we ain't naming names, but there's no more passionate person than I've ever had the experience of working with inside the ring and outside of it as Mike Montero. So when I planned to finish up years ago when I was hurt and didn't know how hurt I was, Montero was always the one that I wanted to finish with. I wanted that Rocky moment.
Yep.
No one's ever gone the distance with Creed.
Right.
And I look at Mike Montero like that.
Right. Well, I got to say, I really didn't know much about Mike until I think the first time you came on, you mentioned how good he was. Yeah. And I paid attention, and he is every bit of what you said. He is great. And so is it Ricky.
Oh, yes.
He's another one that I had no idea. I didn't know him at all.
Once again, it was Montero's influence that really helped boost Ricky to where he is. And
they look like they could be brothers. It's crazy.
I have jokingly said in the past that if you stand Mike Montero in the middle, Ricky on one side and Jason Devine on the other, it's younger, current, future.
Yeah.
I don't know if he takes that as an insult or not. And I love Jason Devine. But, those three together. And the funny thing that people don't realize is that, Montero is very much the de facto leader of the crew.
Right.
When you look at the way it is. But Devine was that guy before.
Okay.
So, so it's they're all together. And adding Jamie Tucker to the crew really got Jamie out of his shell. And I remember when Mike and I sat down to write about how we wanted to do the thing with Jamie, because we were going to do the thing with Jamie and have it lead to a thing with AJP because they were the Young Guns.
Right.
It was a tag split up story. And I remember us talking, it was always going to be temporary.
Right.
Always going to be temporary. That cage match that happened at Elkmania was originally going to be the Dirt City versus the Young Guns.
Oh, wow.
But then I came back and we knew we could get Dick Lane back.
Right.
And Sean had a story with Mike all year, and it was just it just makes sense that it be the Dick Busters. And that room wanted to see the Dick Busters. So.
Yeah. I'll tell you, though, and it's great to see the Dick's back.
Yes.
It's gone through a lot.
A lot. The premature birth of his daughter.
Who seems to be doing pretty good right now. Thank God.
I look at it like this: no news is good news.
That's right.
And I've asked him quite regularly for the last year. I said, "How's Luna?
Right.
How's everything going on?" You know, I didn't want to be the absentee godfather that I
Right.
wish I was, but not the absentee part, but you know what I mean. And you know, the last time I talked to him, he said, you know, this, and this happened, but everything's under control. And I'm like, that's all I wanted to hear.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so why don't we talk a little about your upcoming show, December 3rd, that you're wrestling the final chapter against Mike, the Ace, Mike Montero.
The Ace.
All right, so it's Saturday, December 3rd, 6:30 p.m., Proving Grounds, Nothing Left to Prove, 2022.
This actually, the December show will always be called Nothing Left to Prove.
Oh, cool.
And I think every promotion has their own show that they consider their mania.
Yep.
And, hey, I grew up a Ring of Honor fan.
Right.
I was a huge Ring of Honor fan. And I loved the idea of the final battle, which was the last show of the year.
Yep.
And everything built to it. And then New Year, fresh start. So we kick off every year in PG with either the North Shore Rumble or like we're doing in January this year, the Proving Ground Cup. So we kick the year off basically deciding who the next contender is going to be with either a tournament or a Rumble. So tournaments are much cheaper. So there is a question in there about running shows and stuff. Tournaments are much cheaper, especially if you do it right.
All right. So, and it's live from the Peabody Knights of Columbus, 96 Main Street, Peabody, Mass. 01960 for your GPS, guys.
You even went for the zip code.
Yeah, I always do. You know, I always do. But for the Proving Ground Championship, the champion, Shady Shay Cash, is defending it against Insane Dick Lane.
Well, we thought to ourselves, how can we sell tickets and make money? And then Dick Lane said, I'm available. And it became immediate what we were going to do. Honestly, the spot that Sean Leader wound up in earlier this year could have very easily been Dick Lane had he stuck around. And I'm going to be real with you. The audience loves Dick.
Yep,
and
they do.
It was a no-brainer to pick him as the top contender.
Yeah.
So, and Shay, say what you want about Shay. Shay's been having a killer year.
Sure has.
And Shay, everybody thought Shay was dead in the water.
When Frank left.
Champion left.
Yeah. Nope.
And then we did we in PG we did an angle for half a year with him against Frank, and then, you know, he becomes the Proving Ground champion, and then he becomes the RWA champion, and then, you know, he starts collecting. Like, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's one half of the tag team champions in NCW with Frank champion.
Yep.
So, you know, the kid, he's on a streak right now, and he has earned every bit of it, because once Frank left, it literally was all eyes on Shay.
Right.
And he took that and he ran, and I'm very proud to say that he's my champion.
Nice.
So
excellent. Now is Frank back full time?
No.
Okay, but he comes back here and there.
Yeah, no, of course.
No, right.
He was never one of those guys that left his boots in the ring. He just said, you know, I'm a family man now.
Right.
And I'm gonna come back every once in a while.
That's cool.
And fight, you know. Right. And so, you know, he helps produce over at NRG. He's teaming with Shay periodically with NCW. I will never team them again in PG. I feel like I have this discussion with other promoters at times, because, you know, we're all friends, most of us, and you know, we talk and we try to create this universe that, you know, because we have a lot of shared fans, and we try to create this universe that if you go to one show and you go to another and then you go to the third or the fourth, everything is kind of in line, where it's like, okay, these guys are a tag team here, here, and here. But then sometimes you have a situation where it's just like, okay, they're splitting up the team here.
Right.
But there's still a team over here.
Yeah.
I had that when we started the story with the Middlesex Express.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we wanted to, I'm not going to get too inside baseball about this, but, you know, we did the thing there, And it was like, okay, we did the breakup angle.
Right.
And then they were scheduled to team in like 2 places. And I was just like, I mean, it's not the same audience.
Right.
So I can't, and not only that, but it's not my business. Like, who
Right.
am I to complain? But there was a part of me that's like, oh.
No, I hear you.
I was kind of hoping we could draw some money with this.
As a wrestling fan, you know what I mean? I would want to see whatever I saw first, I would want to keep it going. You know what I mean? Whether that they hit teamed and then they broke up or whatever, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a situation, I'm not going to get into it, but there was an idea on the table for something else that was very similar, where it's like, okay, they're going to be a team here, they're going to be single here, et cetera, et cetera. And it was one of those things where it was just the germ of an idea, and I felt like, you know what? I'm not worried about heat. I don't think heat's a real thing here. I just think it's creative people getting frustrated about their creative. But what ends up happening is you could end up, upsetting somebody that you work with. So it went from, I'd really like to do this. And then you have the conversation and it's just like, maybe I shouldn't.
Right.
Maybe we should go a different way with that. There's also some situations where if you look at the landscape of the promotions that are all kind of booking the same people, it's just like, everything's different.
Right.
He's a heel here. He's a babyface there. He's kind of in between over here, and he doesn't work here. So, everything's a little different. But I think of it like, and I think I was talking with T about this at one point, where it was like the casual fans that come to RWA and PG or whatever, they don't travel. They just go, like, they're not going to drive from Peabody to Rhode Island.
Right.
So those fans, the ones that are just local to the area, only really see what you're doing.
Right.
And then he also made another great point, which was anybody who's a fan that's traveling from state to state, they're in on it.
Yeah, right.
You know,
they already love it anyway.
They're in on it. Yeah. So what's, like, okay, this particular group is doing something different with these two guys than they're doing over here.
Right.
They don't always have to match up. And I know some promoters that just absolutely don't care, which is fine because they have their own fan bases. But, I want everybody to be happy, which is goddamn impossible.
Never gonna work.
So I still, there's 2 ways to go about it. There's, hey, why don't we have a quick conversation? This might happen. Right. I don't want you to be blindsided by it if I do it. And then there's better to ask forgiveness than permission.
Right.
So you kind of got to weigh the checks and balances on that.
Right.
So.
Well, you brought up T, and earlier you brought up AJP. He's been doing great things too the last few months.
Right, and he's been completely banned from my shows for like 9 months.
But he's working all over the place though.
Yeah, no, he took his time away from PG to really cultivate what he's doing.
Right.
So
I had no idea. I didn't know.
Yeah. He got suspended in March for showing up when he wasn't booked. And then we unsuspended him and gave him a shot at the title. Wrestling logic.
All right. So let's get back to the show on December 3rd.
Yep.
And then you got a Proving Ground Tag Team Championship ladder match.
Yes.
With the Hoods. The Hoods, they're still the champs, right?
No,
they're not.
The New Order have been champs since August.
So Mike Grassa and Devin Blaze.
Yes. Devin Blaze.
What's that?
That Devin Blaze.
That Devin Blaze. Okay, I'm sorry, Devin. Don't hit me if you see me. And also in that match is the Dirty City Murder Crew, Ricky Medeiros and Jason Devine.
Correct.
You want to talk about those guys for a minute? I mean, that match is going to be good.
This entire show, like I said, I built the year to get to this show. Right. This entire show is just banger after banger after banger on paper.
Right. No doubt.
But I'd like to believe that in my time I've learned how to put matches together. Like the right people together.
Right.
And how can you fail? How can you fail with those 3 teams?
Right.
And ladders.
Yep.
It's going to be a sight to be seen.
Definitely. Absolutely. And speaking of the next match, the last monster standing match between the Kingpin Brian Malonis and Devil's Eyes Kevin Giles.
The last time these 2 guys had a match was for my show, Level 5. And Malonis got the win that night. And Giles was never really the same after that.
Really?
Yeah. It was like he went toe-to-toe with someone that he idolized.
Right.
And Giles, I mean, I think in the history of the Proving Ground, Giles has lost 4 matches, and he was there day 1. We've been around almost 7 years.
Right.
So it's like, it's not that often.
Right. He's a big boy, too.
He is. And,
Can I ask you? I didn't see them wrestle against each other. Who's bigger? Brian? Who's taller?
Giles is taller.
Okay.
For sure. Brian is definitely the larger of the
Right.
2 competitors, but it's literally 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Right.
When you put them together.
Yeah.
And Giles has been simmering on that loss
Yeah.
since 2019. So
He's
there's
had a long time to work hard.
there's something about that man
Yeah.
that I can't explain. And the funny thing is I'm the only one who's qualified to explain it. Because I'm the only one he trusts.
Right.
And it's funny too, because we spent a couple years beating each other half to death.
Right.
And I think that's probably what lent to the respect.
Right.
Like we just had we had a match together in Newton, and we billed it as the very last time him and I would get to get to beat each other up, and we did. And it was for a great cause and everything, but it was like there was something after that match that I knew he was different.
Right.
You know, I knew something was different, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that manifests. Not just going forward, but how it manifests with Brian on the 3rd.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, that match with Brian changed him in a lot of ways. And I think he's been looking for the opportunity to do it again for quite some time.
Nice.
So I'm hopeful that one of them gets to leave on their own at least. So
Well, I'll tell you, man, Brian Malonis, you don't get much better than that, especially for a big man.
no. The
Pound for
pound,
pound.
the best pure wrestling
Yes.
athlete in wrestling.
Yep.
Period. And the man who broke my neck.
Yeah. And main evented Madison Square Garden with Houston Thunder Liger.
Yeah, that's right.
I love when
That's
he
right.
says that.
He roughed up Liger.
That's hilarious. But I saw the spot that they did in the battle royal. It was great to see, though.
I mean, technically Muda was in that match too, so I guess you could say Brian worked with Muda.
Yeah. I hope he brings that up.
Despite
next time.
being eliminated several minutes prior.
All right. So then you have the Proving Ground DLC championship.
Yeah.
Between former partners, the Middlesex Express, the Right Stuff, Stephen Lust, versus Pimp Daddy Apple Cinnamon. And I feel so silly when I say that name.
Think about having that name. Never mind saying it.
But
I have to write it on every pad.
He nails it though. He is Pimp Daddy Apple Cinnamon.
You know, there had been animosity between the two of them, and it kind of just boiled over this year. And it got. I mean, Stephen Lust finally had his moment in PG.
Right. Yes.
Lust had been around also since the first day, and which is hilarious because he wasn't intentionally booked for that show.
Oh, really?
It was one of those, hey, can I bring so-and-so? And I'm like, I've never met him. Why not? Bring him down,
right.
Et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of cool because I consider Stephen Lust one of my closest friends, and I can actually tell him the date in which we met.
Right.
The same thing
cool.
with Dick Lane, same thing with Sean. It was all PG tapings.
Nice.
But, Lust finally had his moment, and... and it was the very next show that he paid for it.
I was there.
It's wild, and the audience really didn't know, what to make of it.
I was shocked.
And then Chad picking a side was like, Chad's a piece of garbage. Let's just get that out of the way. Chad Epic is a piece of garbage, but I never expected him to choose between his 2 kids.
Right.
Yeah. Like, Chad claims an awful lot of people, but those 2, in my opinion, are uniquely his. Right. And the fact that, no surprise, he went where the belt was. Right. But the fact that he actually he didn't have to do that.
Right.
But he did.
Yep.
He was invited backstage in my locker room, by the way. Just get that out of the way.
He was.
Yeah, of course. Not like that time. Yeah, not like that time in AEW, but we don't have to get into that. Let's not get into that any further. But once again, it's stunts like that make me go, why am I surprised? Right. Why am I surprised he did that?
I can't believe he got away with it for so long. That's just
hey, there are still things he's getting away with we're not aware of yet.
right. There you go.
So we shall see. The time will tell on that, man. But
Yes.
But December 3rd might be that time.
That's right. All right, let's get through the next. We got 3 more matches on that show. You got a grudge match between the Dirty City Soldier, Jamie Tucker, taking on who we just talked about a minute ago, the notorious AJP.
Last time those two actually...
Jamie's doing good, too.
Jamie's the reason why AJ was suspended. I mean, AJ's actions were the reason why AJ was suspended. But it was just like, AJP was the Proving Ground champion. And he had the rematch with Mike Montero, and it was a ladder match, one of Montero's specialties.
Right.
And AJ had him. Broke my heart. AJ had him. And the one person he called friend was the one who put him down. And ever since then, they haven't had a chance to have a formal and I think I was planning on having them go one-on-one in April.
Okay.
The night I wrestled Sean, but in March he got himself suspended.
Yep.
You know, and unlike Kellen Thomas, he's actually welcome back. So AJP is, you know, he's, like I said, he went from being suspended since March to he came along at a moment where I needed somebody, and he got himself his opportunity. So he got his rematch. He didn't win the title back, but he got his rematch. Right. And unfortunately, Jamie had a bit to do with that, so it makes perfect sense that now would be the time to put them together. So we're going to see exactly the anger of AJP on December 3rd. And take nothing away from Jamie Tucker.
Right.
You know, he like all of us, came from a place that he was only going to go so far. And Montero took him under his wing, and now look at him.
Right.
He's everywhere. With them, without them, he's everywhere.
Yep.
What can I say?
Right.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, now I know that you said that because Kellen Thomas wrote something down on my question post, and I wasn't sure if he was talking to me or you. We'll get there.
All right.
Then you have a tag team match with the Dick Busters of Tom Billington and Sean Leder taking on Security Inc. Who are
Security Inc?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Security Inc. I'm not doing this on purpose.
They're a tag team from New Jersey.
Okay. I don't feel as bad now.
Who used to go by the name Job Security.
Okay.
They incorporated, so now they're Security Inc.
Right.
So they're you know, they became like an LLC, a little bit past an LLC at that point. Now they're on the books, you know. But they are two mall cops. Yeah. Trying to play private detectives, and they got a hair across their ass about the Dick Busters. Something about our dick busting equipment not being FDA approved, or something like, or EPA approved, or whatever it is.
Right.
You know, they saw what happened in Manhattan, and they're still gonna play with us.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But that's the thing. Not only that, but like, all right. So we know the Dick Busters.
Yes.
Or at least I'd hope by now. I hope.
Yeah, I do by now.
I hope the branding is known by now. But you know, the Dick Busters, you know, we just reunited, and despite me finishing up at the next show, we're all together now. Right. You know, it's nice. It's nice that we're all on the same page finally, even if it's not going to be, you know, in the ring together.
Right.
And we also have, you know, we have a tag team division that we need challengers, and Security Inc. has had a couple of shots at the championship, and the Dick Busters If I recall correctly, I don't believe the Dick Busters have ever challenged for the Proving Ground tag titles.
Oh, wow.
So you're looking at a match where the winners could easily be the next top contenders for those titles.
I got to ask you, when you do finally step away completely, will you be replaced in the Dick Busters by somebody else?
I don't think you could. The suit's too big. Like Giles is too big to fit in the suit, and everybody else would be swimming in it. So
all right.
There aren't too many people my size, oddly enough. Because I managed to stay big, but also like not as rotund. I said as. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think that is uniquely ours.
Right.
And
cool.
then I think anything else, like I know that Dick and Tom and Sean used to go by the Epidemic. or the Epidem Dick, as it were, when Dick was added. But like, you know, I think the Dick Busters will forever just be the four of us.
That's cool.
You know, Delilah Hayden has always been our receptionist, but she don't wear the suit, thank God. She, never mind. So next.
All right, next match.
Next thing.
You have a singles match with redefined Joey Warner taking on the fight finisher Frank Bones, another guy that's got some traction going.
I agree.
I've been seeing him quite a few times, and he's doing well, very well.
Well, not only that, but once again,
Joey Warner's doing great too.
Frankie is another guy that came from WAW, so he came from a place where, you know, like he wasn't going to get any respect staying there.
Right.
You know, and then he started branching out to different places, and he had he had done tapings early on with us where he would come down, and I'd say, all right, let's see where you're at.
Right.
And the first time he did, I told him, you know,
not yet.
It's not. Here's what you need to work on.
Yep.
And he came back several months later, and I was like, oh, a noticeable improvement. Okay. Nice. Still not what I'm looking for, because it was ever evolving at that point. Okay. We started to do live shows and all that stuff, and I feel, in my honest opinion, and this isn't a disrespect to anybody running shows or anybody on those shows, but like I have an idea of like a standard of quality of what I'm looking for.
Right.
But once again, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm working on a series of videos called How to Be Booked by Me.
Yeah.
It only really applies to, I'm sure a lot of it is going to be universal, but some of the stuff really only applies to me.
Right.
Like, you got an Apple phone, you're already out. No, but that's not true. Everybody who's mailed me a promo from an Apple phone, always top choice. Despite me having a Samsung and being very happy with my video quality. But like, I had a certain standard, and he tried out 2 or 3 times before I saw him again, and I was just like, there it is.
Nice.
I think now he has made the necessary changes and improved in the areas. And, you know, let's be real. Like, I think he had a cup of coffee with Mike Hollow, and that made a world of difference.
Right.
But like, a lot of the improvements he made by sure will.
Right.
You know, and Frankie is now, you know, he's getting to places that, you know, that will use him, and they get to see what he's like up front, and then he keeps coming back.
Right.
And then there's Joey Warner. Joey Warner, back in the day, Joey and I were you know, he showed up one day in the backyard I was wrestling in, and he stuck with me through to my first underground project. I think underground was the most respectable term for backyard in a ring for a while.
Okay.
And then once, like Frankie, I told him, I said, here's what you need to fix. And he left.
Yeah.
And he came back when I was doing my second project, and he was pardon the pun, he had completely redefined who he was.
Right.
And then we started PG, and he was a day one guy. In fact, he was one of those guys that right from the get-go, it was like, there's your star.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
It was. And then we get to the end of the season, and he leaves. And he had the right, you know, he was right, because, you know, he had just gotten married. His wife has 2 kids.
Yeah.
You know, he just started a new job. What's going to happen? You're going to go break his neck by accident?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
Right? So that was that, and it was a perfectly good reason to go.
Right.
And then you fast forward to the pandemic era, and he starts hitting me up and coming around, and I'm like, all right, are you sure?
Right.
And I was reluctant to put him in anything, because I did that before, and I didn't want him to just suddenly up and leave. And he came back, and he's like, I really want to do something different. And I'm just like, good.
Right.
Everybody should want to you know, evolve.
Right.
And I said, but until then, let's just, you know, there are still some stories to be told. And reluctantly, he went along with that. And, you know, it was just, I started to see the changes. And it was just like, okay, so he's doing this more, this less. Okay, well, he's learning. This is good. And back early on when Atlee Green broke me into the business. He said, if anybody ever, because I had training with a handful of people, but some of the other people like Tommy Corbin, Richie Sick, Burke Beckett, however you know them, those guys, it was basically said, if anybody asks you who trained you, don't say us.
Right.
Joey Warner is the only person who I've had a hand in training that will not give any other name but mine.
Oh, wow.
He believes in me enough that he doesn't want to give anybody or nobody credit unless it's me.
Right.
And from where he started to where he is, I don't think I could be more proud of somebody. Not to mention, never mind the stuff he does in the ring, the stuff he does outside the ring. Like I had an issue with ring rentals. I had to buy my own ring. I didn't have a place to put it. He's like, store it at my place. I said, okay. Hey man, it'd be really great if we could get some sponsors. He's like, I'm on it. All of our shows like have 10 to 12 sponsors based on the fact that he's a pest control guy outside of wrestling, and he's visiting all these, and he's like, oh man, you wrestle? Like, and then suddenly they're like, here's some money, and I'm
That's
just
awesome.
and he's doing it, and he's not asking for anything more. He's just happy that the thing that we helped create back in 2016 has far surpassed any expectation of what we had. And there's just something about him that is working for him and working against him.
Right.
I think, I have more to say about this, but I'm not going to kill off all the time. Maybe I'll say something in December, but Joey Warner, he's the one to watch.
Nice.
He's the one to look out for.
All right, so listen, we got 15 minutes left.
Oh, you weren't expecting to get to the name game, were you?
No, we definitely get, but what I'm thinking of is I kind of want to talk to you about your last show and then maybe about the tournament a little. Do you think you could answer some questions online if we skip the fan questions for this?
Oh, yeah, I could do all that
Beautiful. So,
later.
guys, he'll answer your questions.
And by the way, when it comes to drinking a raw carrot, it cannot be done.
Okay. All right, listen, real quick, though, before I do this. Who helps you with the locker room? Because like we were talking earlier, how busy you could be wrestling, and do you get
Montero.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never really ask anybody that.
It's not something like, there was one question that was really cool. Now, granted, it came from somebody who knows the goddamned answer, but like there was one question that was really cool, which was like, walk us through the day of on a show, and I was just like, a lot of crying. Yeah. Is the money coming?
Right.
Not like that show that just happened where all the Noah guys didn't get paid.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was wild.
Guy left.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. He's just like, I have a medical emergency. You're about to be killed.
Yeah. Did you go to that show in Lowell a long time ago?
Which one?
With the one they raffled the belt off, and I think Sonny won the belt.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, all right,
WFA, by the way.
Unreal. Unreal.
I have a mixed opinion, but that being said, I've always hugely respected Steve Bradley, and if this is how they want to celebrate his memory, then by all means.
Yeah, and I mean, by the guy, one of the kids he trained,
It's Scotty Reed, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. It really is for wrestling in New Hampshire.
Yes, because so many people looked at the commission, which is phony, by the way. Anyway, a lot of people looked at the commission as this like unjump-overable hurdle.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it really isn't. Which is why I say it's phony. But no, I don't ever.
They already booked like 31 shows, dude.
I don't ever intend to run in New Hampshire. So don't book my referees. I need my referees.
All right. I'll talk to Sonny for you.
I'll talk to Sonny. Yeah. What was your question? Did I skip it?
No, you're going to answer the fake questions after. Right? Yeah. So why don't you talk about the War Games match you just had?
I don't think I've ever been a part of something with so many moving parts that went as flawlessly as it did.
Tell everybody the match itself. Who everybody was in it.
Yeah, it was the Dick Busters versus the Dirt City, and once again, I don't like. I could kayfabe you and talk about like the story and all that stuff, but the truth is, it's 8 guys came together and created absolute magic.
Right.
Nonsense. The work aside, the way it all was put together, it was so nice not having to walk to like I'm literally upstairs working on putting something together.
Right.
And I hear, oh yeah, we called the match downstairs already. And I'm just like, oh, that's funny considering I'm in it.
Yeah.
And I get downstairs and I'm told what I'm doing, and I'm just like, all right, that worked for me.
Nice.
You know, so because somebody knew all my stuff, all my good stuff, and they were like, all right, cool. Once again, a little too inside baseball. I apologize, but like, that's one of those I gave it away for free the other night. Temporarily,
right.
You know, if you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, you didn't.
But 8 guys that respect each other big time, too.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That's how a match like that becomes great. You guys all respect each other, too, and you're all good athletes.
And we're all good.
Yeah, exactly.
I said this to some, I might have said this to Facebook, screaming into the void, as they say. I said something to the effect of, like, I've spent the last 16 years, oh Christ, it's been 16 years. I've spent the last 16 years thinking that I was this completely awful shit bum in the ring because too many people took the opportunity to tell me so. And, you know, and I know it's me, and I know I have a biased opinion towards myself, but can you, like, I've asked friends, and a lot of people have busted my balls, but like I've asked a lot of the people that I've worked with, and I'm like, can you think of the last time I had a stinker?
Right.
I don't mean like last time I didn't have an excellent match.
No, I know what you mean.
You know,
yeah.
You know, it's like weighing myself down, stepping on my dick.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I can't, like, I know that I've had some matches, but like I can't think of the last time that I had a match that was, you know, that match was so bad it gave me cancer. You know, I don't think I remember any. Like,
that's good.
It's been a long time, you know, and there are a few that I can remember, but it's just like it was a very rare occasion to be able to go, oh, that sucked.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know it's me saying it, so I get it. You know, I get that it's like, what? Oh, he's tooting his own horn. Well, who better knows the song?
Exactly.
You know?
No, it's
like,
true.
I'd like to believe that I don't suck horribly.
Dude, you've been around wrestling long enough to know what's good and what's bad. Come on.
Yeah, you know, don't be 300 pounds and try to 450. You know, don't do it.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Don't do it. The poor John Wilson, you've never met him.
Yeah.
Back in the backyard. I was the lightest I ever was. I tried to do a 450, and it was really a 360 double stomp to the side of his fucking head.
Poor kid.
Pardon my language.
Yeah.
Can we curse on the show now?
That was the first F-bomb in a while.
Yeah, I think I let one slip earlier,
I think so.
Whatever. It's public access. It's fine.
They'll take care of it in the post. You know?
But yeah, you know, like I feel like it's like I've done all right. You know, like I'm okay. I'm not gonna go down in the echelons of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of New England, but I'm certainly right there in the middle.
There you go.
If there's ones and tens, I am certainly a 5. I will take 5. So, you know, I can't argue with I can't argue with this. I'll argue myself up to 7. Ryan Andrews thinks at one point he was a 7. He has never looked better than my foot. So I don't love you, Ryan.
Ryan is a great guy.
Oh, he's a great cat. Once again, he got me the heat when I was on the show.
I gotta ask, how's this girl doing?
Great. As far as I know, good.
Remember that post I saw? She was having some issues.
Oh, the hospital is her second apartment.
All right, okay.
I think Ryan had a medical emergency while he was there visiting her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you guys should just find out what the rent is.
Right.
Which, by the way, don't try to rent an apartment in December. Like, it's wild.
Right.
Like, nobody, like, there's not a lot of choice this time of year. So
why don't you tell us more about the War Game show?
The show as a whole, or
sure.
I mean,
would you rather talk about your upcoming tournament?
The tournament's going to be interesting.
Has anyone been announced yet?
I have not formally announced anybody.
You want to do one here?
I probably hang on.
Gotta ask. I gotta ask.
I was waiting for a confirmation from somebody at some point.
Yeah.
And I think I got it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll make the first announcement.
Awesome.
Unless something changes.
Yeah.
Which
card subject to change.
Which, by the way, my trading card business still a big thing.
Yeah.
Card subject to change, or card subject TC on Twitter. Get your trading cards made.
Yes.
I'm happy to say that I believe Ichiban will be the first person in that tournament. Yeah, we wanted to do something where we've done 3 Proving Ground Cups before.
Yeah,
and it's been all regulars
right
from Proving Ground, and we looked around the landscape and we said, okay, why don't we bring in some, like, it's for a shot at the title.
Right.
A lot of the people that are in the Proving Ground right now that could easily qualify have had their opportunities.
Right.
Why don't we just go out and find some people that are tearing it up?
Right.
That are really making a splash out there.
And Ichiban is doing that right now.
And Ichiban is one of I could name the dream list of talents that I'd love to have. Like I've said it before, I'd love Alec Price.
Right.
I'd love to see Alec Price in PG. We've had Ichiban before.
Yep.
The Miracle Generation as a whole, Flash and Kylon, and the Haven. Guys like that, guys like Sammy Diaz.
Yeah.
Top 5 dead or alive. Sammy Diaz. Once again, there's a handful of these really, really great talents out there right now that are new and up and coming.
Right.
You obviously got the ones that are still around and still killing it.
Yep.
The AGs.
Well,
AG. Jesus Christ, you just got back from Japan.
Right.
But I mean people like JT and Davian and Chase and them. But it's like, they've been around a long time.
Right.
But like I'm talking about, and they're all established and great workers. But like I'm talking about like the up and coming, the ones that are really getting the hype right now.
Right.
I don't ever want to be the guy. I don't ever want to be the guy who's just like, oh, you've got some hype. Let's just book you. No,
Right.
I see something in all of these people, and I think everybody else does too.
You're right.
I'm in charge of the damn promotion.
Yeah.
My goal is to be able to make enough money to continue running.
Right.
So why wouldn't I look at the landscape?
Absolutely.
Well, not only that, but it opens up the door for some first-time matches.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were talking about Joey Warner earlier. The guy's basically exclusive to PG.
Yeah.
You bring in someone like a Flash Waller or a Kylon, and it was like,
Right.
you've never seen that match before. Let's see what it looks like. Right. Ichiban's been absolutely killing it, and he's wrestled. I think he's wrestled most of my roster in one form or fashion somewhere.
Right.
But you can still bring him in and still get a good,
Oh, absolutely.
Can you imagine Ichiban versus someone like, I don't know, Dick Lane? You want to talk about
Sean Leader?
A clash of Sean Leader, a clash of styles.
Yeah.
Shay
Cash and him?
Shay Cash and Ichiban, the big man, little man. That's just Ichiban.
That'd be awesome.
This is the part where I get a call from Ichiban going, yeah, you shouldn't have said that, brother.
Well, he won't see it for a week.
Right. So everything. So I'll finalize everything before the weekend.
You're good for a week.
No. We got Ichiban.
Right.
Obviously, I think a fair assessment would be that this tournament is going to see the best of what we have in PG, plus
some of the best in New England.
Some of the best in New England. Because
that's awesome.
That's what I want to see.
Right.
That's what I want to see.
Exactly.
And I think, and that's the thing. I've been told a lot that I hate triple threat matches. I'm just going to put that right out in the ether.
Do you really? Yeah.
I hate triple threat matches. And any match with more than one person and one fall, I just don't like it.
Okay.
The ladder match that I'm having at Nothing Left to Prove, it's a little different. It's a ladder match. But there was always something, when I started PG, there was always something about it that I wanted to keep it as close to sport.
Right.
But much like every wrestling promotion that you've ever seen, look at Evolve, for an example. Evolve started off, and the first 20 or so shows, it was like, here's the gimmick.
Right.
Everybody comes out to one song. It's this and that. No spitting on each other. That's a fine. Blah, 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 blah. And then shortly thereafter, it just becomes wrestling.
Right.
Because that's what sells.
Yep.
The gimmicks are cool.
Yep.
And it's neat, like Ring of Honor, the Code of Honor and stuff. Like I lived on that stuff my entire life. Cool. I thought the idea of sportsmanship, and I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch the early taping stuff of PG that's been put out, it was presented like sports. It was like, here's a ranking and here's a this and that. It was we wanted wins and losses gotta matter, which people think that wrestling fans care about all that.
Right.
They don't.
No.
Like everyone getting upset about Austin Theory cashing in the briefcase.
Yeah, and then not winning.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they're burying him. He buried himself before he got signed. Right. Let's not get into that.
Yeah. But he's
he's
very
good.
talented.
Yeah,
man.
you know,
really good.
So was Charlie Chaplin and Ted Nugent, and
well, Ted Nugent, for
you
sure.
know,
Charlie Chaplin was good.
you know, Elvis. Anyway, not gonna get heat for this. So, you know, I realize I'm not the target audience. So, you know, a triple threat match with, you know, one fall to a finish,
Right.
is something that the fans are excited by. And then you got a lot of promotions of almost all of them now.
Right.
I call it we got to get more people on the card match, and it's the 6 or 7 person scramble.
Yeah.
Where it's one pin in a lot of spots. It's exciting as hell.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor.
You know, we had our version called the Proving Ground match. It had 6 people in it, but the way it worked was it was an elimination thing. So you kind of It was, I believe,
moving pieces.
If I believe I'm not mistaken, Ring of Honor called the same match a Proving Ground match or something of that nature.
Right.
But I definitely stole it from them, and it just became a staple for us. And then after a while, it was just like, these matches cost too much. You know, and no one's as excited as one fall and a bunch of people clustering. So you'll probably see more of that in the future because, once again, I'm not the target audience, but I don't care for it. Let's just put it. I won't intentionally go out of my way to be like, all right, there's a title on the line, and the guy who has the title doesn't have to get beat to lose it. I hate that.
That's wild.
Absolutely hate it. Yeah. So I'm going to regret that I said that, I'm sure.
Why don't you, before you plug your show one more time that's coming up on December 3rd, your final chapter.
Yeah.
Next time you come, bring your guitar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do a music show.
Yep. I want you to bring your guitar.
I was genuinely thinking about that on the ride here. I said it'd be nice to do.
Be really cool
to do because you haven't done music in before. All right, 30 seconds. Here we go. 30 seconds. We've got Dick Lane versus Shay Cash going on. Main event, Proving Ground Championship on the line. I'm going to wrestle Mike Montero in what is most likely going to be the last match I ever had. We've got a ladder match for the tag team titles. We've got the 2 biggest men in the area gonna bang meat together. Big sweaty men banging meat.
Yeah.
Last monster standing. The Young Guns explode. What can I tell you? Buy your tickets now. ProvingGroundStore.com.
Great. Todd, thanks again, buddy.
You know it.
Guys, we're out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.